For many people, something feels wrong. Housing prices rise faster than incomes. Stocks grow faster than wages. Assets become more expensive year after year, while salaries move much slower. And over time, it starts feeling like work alone is no longer enough to keep up. This is Capital Clarity, a channel where we explain how money works clearly, simply, honestly. Most people assume that if the economy grows, everyone should benefit at roughly the same pace. But in reality, different parts of the financial system grow differently. Assets and salaries do not move according to the same rules. They respond to different forces. And once you understand that difference, the pattern becomes easier to see. A salary is active income. It depends on time, labor, and negotiation. Assets are different. Assets can increase in value independently of direct labor. They respond to demand, investment flows, borrowing conditions, and long-term economic growth. This means assets have the ability to compound. Salaries usually do not. Over time, inflation increases prices across the economy. But inflation does not affect everything equally. Asset prices often rise faster than consumer wages because assets attract investment capital. As more money flows into housing, stocks, and other investments, prices increase. At the same time, salaries are limited by business costs, productivity, labor markets, and negotiation power. This creates separation. When central banks lower interest rates or increase liquidity, money enters the financial system more easily. Some of that money flows into businesses and the broader economy, but large portions often move directly into financial assets. Stocks rise. Real estate rises. Investment portfolios grow. People who already own assets benefit first because the value of what they own increases. Meanwhile, wages usually adjust more slowly. One of the biggest differences between assets and salaries is compounding. When assets grow, future growth builds on previous growth. A rising investment portfolio creates additional gains over time. Real estate appreciation builds on earlier appreciation. This creates acceleration. Salaries rarely function this way. Most wage increases happen gradually and linearly. This means the gap between asset owners and wage earners can expand over long periods of time. Many people assume salaries should naturally rise alongside economic productivity, but the relationship is more complicated. Businesses aim to control labor costs while maximizing profitability. Technology, globalization, and competition can increase productivity without proportionally increasing wages. As a result, economic growth does not always translate into equivalent salary growth, but asset values can still rise significantly during the same period. Certain assets become more valuable because they are limited. Land is limited. Housing in desirable areas is limited. Strong companies are limited. When demand grows faster than supply, prices increase. And because assets are often purchased not only for use but also for investment, rising demand can accelerate even further. People with higher incomes or existing wealth often have greater access to investing. This creates another layer of advantage. When asset prices rise, those who already own investments benefit automatically. Their wealth grows even if their active work effort remains the same. Meanwhile, individuals relying entirely on wages do not experience the same effect. Their financial progress depends mostly on income growth. For many people, this creates a sense of imbalance. Working harder does not seem to close the gap fast enough. Saving becomes more difficult as asset prices continue rising, and large financial goals begin feeling increasingly distant. This frustration is not imaginary. It reflects the reality that assets and wages operate differently inside the economic system. Understanding this changes how you think about money. You begin to realize that income alone is often not enough to build long-term financial growth. Income creates stability, but assets create leverage. And over long periods of time, leverage changes outcomes dramatically. This does not mean salaries are unimportant. Income remains the foundation of financial stability. But relying only on wages while asset prices continue compounding creates long-term pressure. The key insight is not to reject work. It is to understand how ownership changes financial dynamics. As this process continues across decades, wealth increasingly concentrates around asset ownership. People who own appreciating assets benefit from growth in multiple ways at once. People relying entirely on wages often experience slower financial progression even when working consistently. And because this process compounds over time, the gap can widen significantly. Assets and salaries do not follow the same path. One grows mainly through labor. The other grows through ownership, leverage, and compounding. And understanding that difference changes how you see the economy. In modern economies, income helps you survive. Ownership helps you move ahead.